So Joe Biden came out yesterday. I'll give it to him. Pretty coherent speech. Didn't see that many fumbles.
It's amazing that you have to that's a good thing. That's the bar to reach.
Right.
Is that there weren't that many stumbles.
Right.
That's what my plan is, to build back better. It's bold, it's practical. We've seen in the course of this pandemic that we need to strengthen our industrial base as long-term sources of middle-class job creation. Let's use this opportunity to take bold investments in American industry and innovation so the future is made in America, all in America. I do not accept the defeatist view that forecasts that automation and globalization mean we can't keep well-paid jobs here in America and create more of them. I do not buy it for 1 second that the vitality of American manufacturing is a thing of the past. American manufacturing was with a functioning arsenal of democracy in World War II, has to be part of the engine of new prosperity in America now. So today, I'm releasing a blueprint I think the press has, how to create millions of good-paying union jobs, building products and technologies that we need now and will need in the future.
But I found it so interesting. That Joe Biden, I reject the claim that, we can't have we can't have both. We can't have American manufacturing and, a globalized workforce. Joe Biden talking about bringing back manufacturing to America, talking in a way like he's anti-globalist. That's very different than this Joe Biden. I don't know if you've ever seen this, Jen. Yes, because you sent me the clip.
I sent it to you.
I quite frankly think that both the arguments for and against NAFTA are vastly, vastly, vastly overblown. As I look at this issue, and I do not pretend to be an expert on international trade matters, I see it in the end that 3, 5, 7, 10 years from now, we're going to look down at this issue, and in terms of the context in which it's being debated about creating jobs or losing jobs, this is essentially going to be a wash. I've been struck by the depths of the concerns expressed by those who oppose NAFTA on the one hand, and the apparent ease with which some of NAFTA's supporters have dismissed the concerns of those who oppose NAFTA. How, I wonder, could some Americans be so confident that NAFTA is the key to a bright future when the others are just as convinced that with NAFTA there is no future? Perhaps most disturbing to me has been the argument by some, and I emphasize some, not all, supporters of NAFTA, that their opponents are reacting out of ignorance or out of fear. After all, they seem to say, we know that a poll of our country's experts and elites would show overwhelming support for the principles of free trade.
I don't know if you heard this, Jen. This is 1993, so that would be, what's that? I'm not good at math. 17 years ago? Yeah. No.
I have no idea. I don't do math either.
That's 2003, 2013. So that's 27 years ago. Excuse me. Did you hear him say the part that, 7 to 10 years from now, this will be a wash? Later in the speech,
right.
later in the speech, he says NAFTA will grow way more jobs than it took away. First of all, don't want to trigger anyone because I know a lot of people don't like it. Where was Bernie Sanders with this? Why was Bernie Sanders not running ads playing that in Michigan, in other parts of the country? I mean, it's not, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just Joe Biden's record on its own is worse than Hillary Clinton's because he's been in public office longer. Frankly, unless I've missed it, I mean, I've seen some of Trump's ads. We just saw that ad that he's running in Pennsylvania just showing Biden's mental decline and, just not making any sense when he speaks. But right here is gold. It was gold for Bernie. it should be gold for Trump. They're not doing it. And Joe Biden, yes, Trump's terrible. Yes, he's number one. He is number one responsible for the coronavirus deaths. Buck stops with the president. He was slow to act, and now he's acting like it's over when it's at its height. So let's, just me knocking Biden, don't get it twisted. Trump is a dangerous man. Trump is responsible for a lot of death. But somebody's got to call out the gall of this man, Joe Biden, who, like the Iraq War, he wasn't some silent backbencher in the Senate. He was one of the leading proponents of pushing NAFTA. So, as Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin, putting aside coronavirus for a second, as they decided the election last time, in many ways, in most electoral maps, they will decide the election again. And you have Joe Biden up there spewing bullshit about how he's some, buy an America guy, bring back American jobs, we're going to lead the future. This is the same bullshit I heard from Bill Clinton. This is the same bullshit Obama put out there. At least Bush didn't pretend to care about bringing jobs back. Joe Biden is in large part responsible for all those plants closing. He said later on in that speech that a plant in Delaware, they were going to open up more plants in Delaware because of NAFTA. Well, the very plants he cited that were open at the time closed in 2007 because of offshoring. So I don't know how this guy says all this with a straight face. Trump and his campaign aren't calling him on it, which I don't really get. If you look into the details of this Build America plan, he's going to do $700 billion, I guess, towards some tax incentives or direct government spending for the government, for a potential Biden administration to buy American. So to buy masks and PPE equipment and other things manufactured in America, thus creating more manufacturing jobs. But I have a sneaking suspicion, Jen, and this is what I sent to Crystal the other morning, because snuck into this Wall Street Journal story is what I've been saying since the beginning. Joe Biden, if he becomes president, he will sign TPP while you're sleeping. He will sign it, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Yeah, they'll change a sentence or two. Throw in some labor protections, environmental protections that, of course, will be watered down when it's passed. This is in the Wall Street Journal story. Mr. Trump's re-election campaign released a new television ad Thursday attacking Mr. Biden's support for trade deals such as the North American Free Trade Agreement and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But the key part that I sent to Crystal was in the Buy American plan, when Biden's advisors were talking to reporters about it, they said, well, we're not going to make trade deals a priority like the TPP. They won't be a priority for us, maybe later down the road, i.e., once the surface level numbers are better under a Biden administration, we're signing the TPP lickety-split. That's what he said. Don't take it from me. Take it from his advisors told reporters. So, to me, he's very clearly saying, when they say, oh, it's not going to be a priority for us, that means, but it's not out of the question either. So in one breath, what he's saying is, we need to buy American, we're going to bring back plants, and he's kind of basically copying Trump's 2016 mantra of, reestablishing American manufacturing, turning around this American globalization, while at the same time, his team is saying, well, TPP, it's not a priority, but might happen down the road.
But I think, one thing that I want to point out is that it's so Hillary-esque, the Build Back Better plan. What does that even mean? It's word salad. It means nothing. It inspires no one. And then when you actually go through it, and as Jordan's done, you go back through his stances in the past and the things he's actually done in the past, in the end, it really means nothing. And maybe it sounds good. Okay, let's refocus on American manufacturing and giving American workers a leg up. Let's bring back what's been lost in this country. But it's so it's so meaningless, it's so uninspiring, and it's so against his history. Like, you have to really put aside Joe Biden's history and stances in the past to really even believe him and think that this is actually going to lead to change. Like, as soon as I saw the what is it even called? The Build Back Better plan. I mean, it sounds like it's like as convincing as Stronger Together, or what's Melania's silly, I don't even remember her silly, like, social media phrase that she is her initiative. It's like these politicians, they don't actually lead to change or do anything substantial that leads to change. They just come up with fancy phrases and, like Joe Biden, have all the media run this as if it's good and plant the seed that, oh, Joe Biden's going to do this and it's going to be so different from what Trump is doing, and finally things are going to get better. But there's nothing really there for the people. It's not going to lead to real change because Joe Biden doesn't have any convictions.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.